What happens when someone brings something onto a stage that forces Dr. Phil to stop everything, tear up the script, and rewrite the rules in real time? Stop the tape. Stop it right now. Dr. Phil's voice cut through the studio like a knife. The cameras kept rolling, but everyone froze. In his hands was a small, weathered cardboard box. And inside that box was something that would change everything. What happened next became one of the most powerful moments in daytime television history. The day had started like any other taping of the Dr. Phil show. Michael Torres, a 43-year-old construction worker from Phoenix, had written to the show months earlier. His letter was simple but devastating. I need help finding closure. 20 years ago, I made a choice that destroyed my family. I've been running from it ever since. The producers thought they knew what kind of episode this would be. A standard family reconciliation story. Maybe some tears, maybe some breakthroughs. They had seen thousands of cases like this. But they had no idea what Michael was carrying in that box. Michael walked onto the stage with slow, deliberate steps. He was a big man, 6'3", broad shoulders, calloused hands, but he moved like someone carrying an invisible weight that never left. The audience could see it in his eyes. This was a man who hadn't slept peacefully in 2 decades. Dr. Phil greeted him with his trademark directness. Michael, you wrote to us saying you needed help finding closure. Tell me what happened 20 years ago. Michael sat down, the box on his lap, his hands gripping it like it might disappear if he let go. 20 years ago, Dr. Phil, I was a different man. I was angry, selfish, addicted to painkillers after a work accident. My wife Sarah begged me to get help. My daughter Emma, she was only 7, she would cry and ask me why I was always angry. The studio was silent. Everyone knew something heavy was coming. One night, I came home late. Hi again. Sarah confronted me. Said she was taking Emma and leaving. I lost it. Not physically, I never hit them. But the things I said, the words I screamed at my 7-year-old daughter. Michael's voice broke. The audience leaned forward. Dr. Phil's expression shifted from professional interest to deep concern. I told her she was the reason I was miserable. I told her I wished I never had a kid. I looked my 7-year-old daughter in the eyes and told her I didn't love her. A collective gasp rippled through the studio. Several audience members covered their mouths. Dr. Phil leaned forward, his eyes never leaving Michael. The next morning, they were gone. Sarah left a note. Said she couldn't let Emma grow up hearing those words. Said she was protecting our daughter from me. And she was right. I was poison. But Michael wasn't finished. He hadn't even opened the box yet. For 20 years, I've tried to find them. For 20 years, I've wanted to tell Emma I was wrong. That I was sick. That every word I said that night was a lie born from addiction and pain. I wanted to tell her that I spent every day since getting sober, getting help, becoming the father I should have been. Dr. Phil spoke softly now, the way he did when he sensed someone was standing at the edge of something profound. Michael, you brought something with you today. What's in the box? Michael looked down at the cardboard box in his hands. His fingers trembled as he spoke. 3 months ago, I got a call from a hospital in Seattle. Sarah, my wife, she passed away. Cancer. The studio went completely silent. Several audience members were now openly crying. The hospital said Sarah left instructions. If anything happened to her, they were to contact me. They sent me this box. It arrived 2 weeks ago. I haven't opened it. I couldn't. Not alone. Dr. Phil did something he rarely does. He stood up, walked over to Michael, and sat down directly next to him. Michael, do you want to open it now? Here? Michael nodded, tears streaming down his face. Dr. Phil turned to the cameras, to the producers, to everyone. Hold on. Give us a moment. He looked back at Michael. Whatever is in there, we're going to face it together. You're not alone anymore. What happened when Michael opened that box changed everything, not just for him, but for everyone watching. Michael's hands shook as he lifted the lid. Inside were 3 things, a stack of letters bound with a rubber band, a small bracelet with a unicorn charm, and a photograph. Michael picked up the photograph first. His hands were shaking so badly that Dr. Phil gently steadied them. It showed a young woman, beautiful, smiling, holding a diploma, standing next to an older Sarah. The resemblance was unmistakable. "That's Emma," Michael whispered. "That's my daughter." Dr. Phil picked up the letters. "Michael, these letters, they're addressed to you. All of them. From Sarah." Michael couldn't speak. Dr. Phil, with Michael's silent permission, opened the first letter. His eyes scanned it quickly, and his expression changed completely. "Michael, Sarah wrote to you every year. On Emma's birthday. Every single year for 20 years. The studio erupted in shocked gasps. Dr. Phil's own voice cracked slightly as he continued. "She wrote about Emma's first day of school. Her first dance recital. Her graduation. Her acceptance to medical school." Dr. Phil paused, looking directly at Michael. "Sarah never stopped believing you could change. She kept a record of everything, waiting for the day you were ready to hear it." Michael was sobbing now, deep, wrenching sobs that came from a place most people never have to visit. Dr. Phil put his hand on Michael's shoulder and just let him cry. The audience wasn't watching a TV show anymore. They were witnessing something sacred, a man's soul breaking open and beginning to heal. Subscribe and leave a comment, because the most powerful part of this story is still ahead. After several minutes, Michael composed himself enough to speak. "Is Emma, does she know about me?" Dr. Phil picked up another letter from the stack, this one newer, the envelope crisp. "Michael, this letter is from 3 months ago. It's from Sarah, but it's different from the others." He opened it carefully. "Sarah wrote this when she knew she was dying. She says, 'Michael, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I need you to know something. I never told Emma the whole truth about that night. I told her you were sick, that addiction made you say things you didn't mean. I told her that the man who said those words wasn't her real father. The real father was the man who held her when she was born, who cried when she took her first steps, who loved her with everything he had before the pills took over." Dr. Phil had to stop. The weight of what Sarah had done, protecting both her daughter and her husband for 20 years, was overwhelming everyone in the room. She continues, "Emma knows about you. She knows you got sober. She knows you've been trying to find us. She's a doctor now, Michael. A pediatrician. She helps kids every day. She got your strength and your heart. She wants to meet you. But she's scared. She's scared you'll see her and remember only that night. She's scared she won't be enough to erase that memory." Michael looked up, his face a mixture of pain and desperate hope. "Where is she? Is she here?" Dr. Phil looked directly into Michael's eyes. "Michael, Emma has been watching from backstage since you walked out here. She's been listening to every word." The studio gasped. Dr. Phil turned to the producers. "Bring her out." The side door opened. A young woman in her late 20s stepped onto the stage. She had Michael's eyes and Sarah's smile. She was shaking, tears already streaming down her face. Michael stood up so fast his chair almost fell over. He just stared at her, this woman who was his daughter but also a stranger, and he couldn't move. Emma spoke first, her voice barely above a whisper. "Dad?" That single word, Dad, broke something in Michael. He collapsed to his knees right there on the stage. "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, baby girl. I'm so sorry." Emma ran to him. She dropped to her knees and wrapped her arms around him, and they just held each other while 20 years of pain poured out. The entire studio was crying. Dr. Phil stepped back, giving them space, his own eyes wet. The cameras kept rolling, but no one was directing anymore. This wasn't a show. This was life happening in real time. After what felt like an eternity, Emma pulled back slightly, took the unicorn bracelet from the box, and held it up. "You gave this to me on my 6th birthday. Mom saved it. She saved everything. She loved you, Dad. She never stopped believing you'd come back to us." Michael took the bracelet, held it to his chest, and sobbed. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve you. Emma grabbed his face with both hands, forcing him to look at her. That's not your choice to make. I'm here. I'm choosing you. I'm choosing us. Dr. Phil knelt down next to them, something he almost never does on camera. Michael, Emma, what your mother did, keeping these letters, protecting both of you, building a bridge across 20 years of pain, that's love in its purest form. She gave you both the greatest gift, a chance to start again. But there was one more thing in the box. Emma reached in and pulled out a sealed envelope with Michael's name written in Sarah's handwriting. The ink was recent. Mom wrote this the week before she died, Emma said. She made me promise to give it to you when we met. She said you'd need it. Michael opened it with trembling hands. He read it silently at first, tears falling onto the paper. Then, at Dr. Phil's gentle encouragement, he read it aloud. Michael, if you're reading this with Emma beside you, then I can rest peacefully. You beat the addiction. You became the man I always knew you could be. Emma is the best of both of us. Take care of each other. Don't waste time on guilt. I forgive you. Emma forgives you. Now forgive yourself. Love always, Sarah. The studio erupted in applause, but it wasn't the usual TV applause. It was cathartic, collective healing. Dr. Phil stood, helped both Michael and Emma to their feet, and addressed the audience and cameras directly. This is what I do this show for. Not for ratings, not for fame, for this. For moments where broken things are made whole. Where families are restored. Where grace wins. He turned back to Michael and Emma. Michael, you and Emma have a lot of work ahead of you. Building a relationship after 20 years won't be easy. But I'm going to make sure you have every resource you need. Counseling, support, whatever it takes. Michael gripped Emma's hand like he might never let go. Dr. Phil, I don't know how to thank you. Dr. Phil smiled, the kind of smile that reaches all the way to the eyes. Don't thank me. Thank Sarah. She set this whole thing up. She just needed us to turn the pages she couldn't finish. Share and subscribe. Make sure this story is never forgotten. In the weeks that followed, Michael and Emma began the hard work of building a father-daughter relationship from scratch. Dr. Phil's team connected them with a family therapist who specialized in reconciliation and healing from addiction trauma. 3 months after the taping, Emma invited Michael to her hospital. He watched her work with pediatric patients, saw the gentle way she handled scared children, recognized pieces of himself in her strength and tenderness. 6 months later, on what would have been Sarah's birthday, Michael and Emma visited her grave together. They brought the box, now a sacred object, and told Sarah about their journey. Emma wore the unicorn bracelet. Michael carried the letters in his pocket, reading one each week, getting to know the daughter he'd missed. A year after the show aired, Michael and Emma returned to Dr. Phil for a follow-up episode. The transformation was stunning. Michael looked 10 years younger. The weight he'd carried was gone. Emma was radiant, confident, at peace. They sat together on the same stage where their story had begun, holding hands. Dr. Phil asked them the question everyone wanted to know. What changed? Emma answered, everything and nothing. We're still learning each other. But we're not carrying the past anymore. We're building a future. Michael added, that box, those letters, they gave me back my life. Sarah gave me back my daughter. And Dr. Phil, you gave us the space to let it happen. Dr. Phil leaned forward, speaking not just to them but to everyone watching. This is the power of forgiveness. This is what happens when we choose healing over hatred, hope over despair. Michael lost 20 years, but he didn't lose his daughter. Because love, real love, is patient enough to wait and strong enough to rebuild. The legacy of that box extended far beyond one family. The episode became one of the most watched in Dr. Phil's show history. Thousands of viewers wrote in sharing their own stories of estrangement and reconciliation. The show created a resource page dedicated to addiction recovery, family counseling, and healing from trauma. Michael started speaking at addiction recovery centers, sharing his story and Sarah's letters. Emma joined him, talking about forgiveness from a child's perspective. Together, they became advocates for families torn apart by addiction, offering hope that healing is possible. And the box? Michael and Emma donated it to a museum dedicated to recovery and reconciliation, along with Sarah's letters, a permanent reminder that it's never too late to come home. Dr. Phil, reflecting on the episode years later, said, "In 25 years of doing this show, I've seen thousands of stories. But that box, what Sarah did, what Michael and Emma became, that's the one that reminds me why this work matters. We're not here to entertain. We're here to heal. And sometimes healing looks like a cardboard box full of 20 years of love that never died." The bracelet with the unicorn charm sits in Michael's home now, in a frame next to a photo of Sarah, Emma, and himself, taken at Emma's wedding 3 years after that fateful taping. In the photo, Michael is walking Emma down the aisle, and if you look closely, you can see the outline of the unicorn bracelet on Emma's wrist. Some boxes contain things. This box contained everything: pain and healing, loss and restoration, death and new life. It contained proof that love is stronger than addiction, that grace is more powerful than guilt, and that it's never, ever, too late to come home. And every time Dr. Phil sees a cardboard box now, he pauses, remembering the day when one small package changed everything, proving that sometimes the greatest stories aren't written in scripts. They're written in the courage to face what we've been running from.